We're going to talk about transit news. There's a lot to talk about, and I cannot claim to be an expert on all of it yet. But there are two things happening here. They're interrelated. CityBus, first off, for the next 2 weeks, is offering free fares. The exact dates launch on goes until August 23rd. Starts today, August 11th through the 23rd. And the reason that CityBus is offering free rides, it's because they have redesigned their route network and their fare structure, in which they are calling their Easy Fare. Part of this reimagination, in addition to fares, is also routes. And we're going to go through some of those routes and talk about them a little bit. But like I said, I cannot claim to be an expert on all of this just yet. So stick with me. There is an app that will help explain all of this to you. They are going to have fare capping, where once you have paid enough fares for the equivalent of a day pass and then a 31-day pass, additional rides will be free because you've essentially bought that pass and you won't accrue over that total amount once you pass that. A whole host of things, tap to pay, seamless transfers, all that sort of stuff. But what I really wanted to talk about are the routes. They're all gonna vary a little bit in time and availability. That's the other part of this, that CityBus is load balancing their fares, if you will. Their route structure and times. They're not just wasting diesel or propane but that are not running with enough people on them to pay the bills. I'm just going to read this. There are core routes. They provide frequent service along high-demand, high-density corridors and form the foundation of the network. And there will be local routes, and they'll offer coverage in areas with lower demand and density, and they'll operate on more limited schedules, connecting riders to the core routes. This is the overall map. Here's the core map. So here is downtown Lafayette. Here is Purdue University and West Lafayette. And I'm not going to try to enumerate all of the routes. It would be impossible to do. But you can generally see there's the east-west routes that cover State Street and through Lafayette and West Lafayette. Here are the northwestern routes that hit Walmart and up to the Research Park and up in that area. Here are the southern routes that go down to, is this Beck down here, doesn't even get as far south as Veterans Memorial Parkway. It's an interesting point there. So that is the core route map, but we're going to go ahead and look at how they break down. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the entire route. These are the core routes. So you've got the Creasy Lane route, which starts downtown, heads up Greenbush, and comes down here towards the hospital and Menards. You've got the South Street route, and that's the main drag through 26 here and down south to Beck. You've got the Main Street route that goes diagonally here. Oh, this is the Brady Lane route. Sorry, the colors were mixing together. This is the Brady Lane route down here. The South Street route is up here. This is more of a navy. This is more of a dark blue. Out here, heading from downtown over to the west side, we have the McCormick Lane route that pops through the core of Purdue University through 26 and up and over to the camping golf course and up to the Research Park. We've got the Salisbury line that kind of comes down Salisbury and through the north side and Rossade and back out across the river up on Union Street. And then finally the Sagamore West, which is hanging out here. So those are the core routes, and we'll see how those all kind of connect together here in a second. And again, this is a lot. For some reason, my computer is insisting on showing this as a 2-up, and I really only need it as a 1-up. Here we go. These are the local routes. And we won't name all of those, but we will see that they do fill some of the holes. Here's one that hits the south side, Teal Road, on down to Veterans Memorial Parkway and over here towards Menards. Here's the one that hits the hospital routes over here, and then some core routes over on the west side and in the core of Lafayette. So those are the local routes that are a little more limited in time. I'm just going to show you these maps. They also have these maps in time bands. And again, I'm showing you these highlights. Go back and study this in detail for yourself. These routes generally run 6 a.m. I think that's supposed to be a p.m. 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. So from the start of work through the end of work, basically. And then evening routes, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So you can still get around. Then down here at the bottom, overnight routes, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. So similar, just an hour offset from these guys up here. And then finally the routes that run late night, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. late nights. And you can see you can get from downtown, down Main Street to the south side, or downtown across 26 up to Cherry Lane and up towards Walmart on the west side. Like I said, a lot to take in. The fares are going to be capped. This guide that they have published has all sorts of details about the routes, when and where they run. But the last feature we'll talk about, and then we'll move on. Like I said, I'm not an expert at this yet. This is so new. I know it's a lot to take in, and I'm not teaching it in the most smooth way possible. So thank you very much for bearing with me on this. They're going to have 5 transfer points. Some of them are fairly normal. We're used to them already. There's the downtown CityBus Center. There is the Walmart on the west side and the Walmart on the east side. But 1.5 newish transfer points. The Payless over on Beck Lane on the south side. And then finally the 5th one being Ivy Tech over on the southeast side of town. So that's where all these various routes will intersect. So there will be some routes that you'll hop on downtown, you'll head out to Walmart East, and then Walmart East you'll hop off a bus, take a transfer that's included in your fare, and then continue your route. A lot to take in. Go check it out. I'll link it below, but it's Reimagine CityBus. I told you it was a whole lot to take in, but I really wanted to talk about it because it's related to another transit issue that's happening here in Lafayette, in the greater Lafayette area right now. And that is campus transit routes. As we went through that CityBus story, you may have noticed that we didn't really talk a whole lot about the Purdue routes, and that's because they don't exist. And part of the genesis of this Reimagined CityBus, and I'm not saying that it is the only reason, CityBus has to be existential about its future just in general, but Purdue last spring decided to ties with CityBus for reasons, as they say. They could not come to an agreement on fares. Purdue felt CityBus wanted too much, and CityBus felt that Purdue wasn't willing to pay their share. So they had a little bit of a falling out, and Purdue is now going to handle its own campus loops